LGBTQ and Africa.
Yeah, it's very topical at the moment.
It is.
And I think at the moment you've got Ghana, who's got the bill, and I think quite recently, just last month actually, the Supreme Court have rejected, because they tried to block the bill, so they went to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to block the bill, and the Supreme Court has rejected it.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was last month. Uganda have passed very, I think the harshest anti-LGBTQ plus laws that ever been enacted.
Does it carry a life sentence or death sentence?
Life sentence.
People already have death sentence over their head through poverty. They're hungry already. That's life death sentence. So why add more?
And I think for me, I think when you look at the current LGBTQ plus laws that are being enacted across the African continent, is what I find quite interesting is the fact that they're also criminalizing people that advocate
for it. Is it the case that it's not really the act they're criminalizing, it's just this is ideologies versus ideologies?
Yeah, exactly.
So ideologies of these nations in Africa against the West. So I think most politicians and most people see it as an agenda from the West. So it's a fight between ideologies. Yeah. Don't you think so?
Yeah. I haven't thought about it.
Because that's how most people interpret it at the base, not the government offices.
Yeah, because I say this, that I don't think if this is what I sometimes think about. I'm like, I wonder if a lot of the African countries would be this would be this harsh against LGBTQ plus people in terms of the laws that they enacted if the West hadn't, in my opinion, tried to force it down their throat. I think they should have allowed it to happen organically.
It does happen organically. When I was back home in Nigeria, I have friends who
it was never criminalized.
Who would call homosexuals today and all of that, who would come under the huge umbrella of the LGBTQI and plus or whatever. We never knew anything about criminalizing them. There was no stereotyping. We knew people would just say, in our local dialect, that guy sleeps with a guy. And that was where it ended. Yeah. No one ever threw stones. I came to Europe before I knew anything about, you can't even hold. Back then, we would walk the streets, me and my friends, we would hold hands. Yeah. No joke. We would sleep in the same bedroom together. Mm-hmm. We would have shower together naked, me and dudes. Yeah. But when I came to this country, they said, you can't hold your friend's hand. It's frowned. So I learned this whole style behavior and attitude towards homosexuals and people under the LGBT umbrella in Europe. I didn't see that hostility in Nigeria at the time. This is my lived experience. Yeah. So I believe what African nations are fighting against is not necessarily act, because they don't stone people on the street. No, they don't. Is the fact that you're imposing your agenda or your ideologues on us. Yeah. That's what we're fighting against. Mm-hmm. Just like the way we fight against.
And it's quite interesting because I say this, that anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric only came on the continent due to colonialism. Because prior to that, actually,
there's a link.
There is, because prior to that, there is no record really of such rhetoric. Yeah. Because I say this, when you have colonialization, and at the time you had Queen Victoria and British society as a whole, where it colonized a lot of African countries, was very, very hostile to homosexuality. And that's how it crept into our society. And was really once again through religion. Yeah.
My mom would say at the time, like I said, the way we pointed out that dude sleeps with another dude back home then, my mom would say, that man, he's not into women, he is into guys. Yeah. No one threw stones at them. I knew this for sure.
I think we're just very, very tolerant.
So Europeans in the so-called West brought it. I think that's the dilemma for African nations. They're saying, you brought this whole hostility towards this group of people into our society, and now you're coming back to advocate that we should allow it legally. What gives? What's the agenda? What's the undertone? To have high-level politicians like Secretary Blinken from America and Kamala Harris, the vice president, personally going into Ghana and threatening MPs that will sanction this, who will do this, threatening Uganda politicians. Yeah. It's suspect. People will think, what gives? What are you pushing?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. But I think sometimes I sit back and I think, for me, I think that what I think is sad is the fact that even we've always been tolerant, even in Ghana.
That's the word.
And at the moment I sit there and I'm like, there is no tolerance for people having a different sort of lifestyle from you. And one thing I have an issue with, particularly I would say in the case of Ghana, is the fact that, I'm so sorry, I know people are probably not going to agree with me in this. I don't like the fact that the church has so much control on this bill, because I push for there being a distinction between the state and religion quite heavily, only because I think that there's so many, within the population, not everybody subscribes to a certain sort of religion. And I don't think it's fair for one particular religion. In this case, I would say the Church of Pentecost have been the one really pushing this bill.
So they're fighting
pushing
for the bill to go through.
Pushing for the bill to go through.
To declare the whole same-sex relationship illegal.
Of course, because once again, they're using biblical terms to push it. And in terms of offering conversion therapy, because the Ghana bill has that, it has the offering conversion therapy.
It's part of the whole...
which is why some people are like, wait, how are you offering conversion therapy? Like, what is this going to entail? Because some people are worried that it would lead to some sort of abuse.
Yes, it will, but is this something popular in Africa? Because it's very popular in America. And the thing is, the hypocrisy things, because America, they haven't dealt with their own homophobic tendencies. They come into Africa to impose on us. And again, it's politics, it's give and take, because these politicians in the past would have collected money in the forms of bribe or whatever, bent their backwards for American politicians. And now Americans are coming to say, you must do what we want to do. And they're saying no. So they're saying, we'll threaten you with sanctions. And it's because so they say, who come to justice must come with clean hands. Yeah. So those Ghanaian politicians, they're not entirely clean. Because Americans can expose some few shady deeds they've done, similar with Uganda. I'm not in support of the stands they're taking. Like you said earlier, I don't like the word tolerant, but we've always been welcoming of everything.
Welcoming.
There's been gay people, homosexual. There's been cross-dressers. I cross-dressed a bit when I was growing up as well. Nobody slapped me on the street. I was wearing body hugs, slim trousers and Bella pushes and big high shoes. I still wear high shoes. I plait my hair. I used to put lipstick. I'm saying this, and people know. Nobody's told me on the street. We just thought it was fashion. Yeah. I love colors. I wear colorful clothes, yellow, red, pink, and all of that. And it was just fun until I came to Europe where I saw this. But you see, if we go touch on the advocacy groups, we look at those charity groups that advocate for this. What we need to understand is the undertones of these groups. These whole groups, not all of them have how do I say, good intentions for us. They said the road to hell is paved with good intentions anyway. None of them have good intentions for us. They have undertones. So we suspect these agencies a lot, because you can tell from other charitable organizations that have gone to Africa and you turn out they were abusing children.
Oh yeah, I agree. Here's the thing where I'm torn, because I think like I understand the work that they're trying to do, but I think the issue is that even across the continent itself, I think it's very easy whilst you're in the system to do things and get away with it. And I don't think there's no check and balances on the people that go out to volunteer, which I don't like.
That's not.
And a lot of the time you're exposed to very, very impressionable young kids. And people, the thing with poor kids, as I'll never say that, people take advantage of poor people.
And these groups from abroad, from Europe, they take advantage of Ghanaian kids, especially the young boys. They've been documentaries on this. Nobody shines light on that. And they're coming to shine light on LGBTQ criminalizing that act. What I'm saying is, we have our own issues. We have plenty of issues. We have poverty. We have erosion problems. We have everything happening in our communities.
There's a lot.
We're not dealing with those. We're dealing with subjects that weren't really a problem. And then you know what I think? There's no record of people stoning gays on the streets of Ghana.
And I think it's sad that at the moment, right, you have all these resources being pushed into anti-LGBTQ.
So much time and effort.
Plus pushing so much time
into something that wasn't a problem.
Into something that, in my opinion, in the grand scheme of things, we've got far more bigger issues and problems to be dealing with.
I'm pretty sure, just as heterosexual people feel hunger pangs, it's the same way LGBTQI people feel hunger pangs. Of course, So if you put it on a scale, we will prefer food first before we start dealing with some other issues. You know what I mean? It's facts. Go to Uganda. I know Uganda is a bit extreme. I know
extremely.
one of the gay guys then at the time in Uganda, I don't know if he died. I can't remember that much. They've been extreme. But again, I say always look behind and see why they're pushing this agenda. Why the government in Uganda is against it, and why they have this fracas with the West with regards to this. It's all about ideologues. That's what they challenge. Look at what happened recently. I think it's the Moroccan national team, the female national team.
Yeah, I think.
they're currently having a World Cup tournament in Australia or so. And I think a journalist from BBC, if I'm not mistaken, asked a very dumb, stupid question.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Is this almighty attitude of the West? It's what we actually are fighting against.
Yeah.
But not the necessary act of being gay. How would you do that? A woman who's dressed in niqab, somehow, she's a Muslim, coming from a Muslim country, representing a Muslim nation, and you sat there and you're almighty thinking you're this too good person. Meanwhile, BBC presenters are abusing boys left, right, center. We've not dealt with that.
I think, once again...
He asked this lady.
Yeah, it's Western imperialism.
Do you have gay people in your team? How do you deal with it? What stupid idiot. Sorry for my language. He was a dumb prick.
It wasn't a platform for that.
It wasn't. What's your problem? Not. And it's this, and the lady was very uncomfortable. And somebody
because
said,
obviously she can't sit there and have this type. Because I think people.
Well, you wanted to stone her to death?
Exactly, because she has to go back to her country and she has to deal with the repercussions of these things.
There's freedom of speech everywhere, but the speech. What happens after the freedom of speech?
Exactly. And when you're in certain communities, you kind of understand the backlash that might come with you being at the forefront of certain issues. So sometimes you have to be wise.
We're fighting against. Actually, it's not that the act itself is what people fight, because we have brothers, cousins who are under this umbrella. What we're fighting against is attitude like that dumb BBC presenter coming to ask that sort of insensitive question. It was the same thing Gary Neville did in his almighty wisdom, talking about the World Cup in Qatar. They go against gay people, blah blah blah. I'm pretty sure if we dig him now, we'll find things. It's hypocrisy.
I think one thing I will say is that, which is something that I never really understand about a lot of not Western countries, even like the people. That's why you see Western imperialism really at work, and people are indoctrinated into the sort of like Western imperialism. You go to a country, right? You freely go to the country. You understand that there are rules and regulations in this country. Why then do you go there and like just flout the rules intentionally just to prove that, I don't respect. It's basically, you're basically disrespecting the country that you're going to.
Of course.
And I think, I can't remember where it is. Is it Bali, where they're looking at banning people from going, because a lot of Western people have been going to places that they consider as being holy, and in their opinion, like you're degrading, you're desecrating the places that we believe are sacred. And I think that's also like Western imperialism at work, because of the way you've been brought up to think that the Western way is the best way, and you completely disregard anything that is.
The Eurocentric way is the way forward. That is what we're fighting against. And not to play this whole thing happening, bring any less power to it. Look, I don't like Ghana passing that law or Uganda passing the law.
Of course not.
Like I said again, we're humans and we have bigger problems.
We do.
This ain't our problem. We've got bigger problems of corruption, mismanagement of funds. We got bigger problem of imperialism still in Africa. We got bigger problems of puppet government still in Africa, dancing to the tunes of this Western government. So Uganda President Museveni has been ruling that country for donkey years, since the days of Idi Amin. Yeah, Ghana has had the change of government, but again, they come out and the people...
No, but it's the same, I say this, change of government, but it's the same family.
Yeah, it's the same. You see what happens is
it's a recycling of the same family.
So when government, I think the government, the Ghanaian parliament and the Uganda government were all playing to the gallery, to the people, say, we're challenging the hegemony of the West. They're not doing that where it matters. But when our people see them doing this, they think, finally we have balls to challenge the West. No, not on issues like this.
No.
Affecting our own people. Because whether the LGBTQ people, they are our own people. They are our citizens. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. I don't want to see my brothers being criminalized for their lifestyle. I don't want to see my sisters being thrown into prison for their lifestyle. Yeah. But I want to see corrupt people being thrown into prison because they're endangering my life more than someone who identifies as LGBTQI+.
Yeah, and they're causing more harm to the society, in my opinion. But I think also... So I sit back and when I look at all of this play out, and I'm like, this is sad, because it's also then emboldened like your average citizens to then attack people that are living a lifestyle that is different from theirs. And for me, that's a big worry.
Yeah, that's the rhetoric behind every of this. It would lead
you're
to
emboldening.
That. But I hope the people don't. I haven't seen people stoning anyone. I don't think they would do it, because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, we all have one commonality: hunger, poverty, the same issues we have. No light, no proper government, no future for our kids. I think that's bigger than what is being pushed out there.
Definitely agree.
You know, whose agenda is playing? That's what we need to know. Whose agenda? The Pentecostal churches, he touched on them. I know they're very up and up against this sort of lifestyle. Meanwhile, sin is a sin. You steal too. You steal
exactly, and this is what
you abuse women. You abuse men.
It's a valid point because I say this all the time. Even
if you say this is a sin,
from a religious perspective, if you're saying that people that engage in LGBTQ plus, it's a sin. I'm like, it's like any other sin. So why is it that when, I'm sorry, like your church member or your pastor is, I don't know, married and they're committing adultery or they're stealing, we are not pushing for legislation to criminalize these people.
It's just human.
It's just human. Oh no, it's between you and God. So why are we not giving them that same amount of grace that we're pushing for other types of sin?
Because it's not about God. I tell you what, it's about God, but a different God. The money God. No, follow the trail, follow the breadcrumbs. It's the churches in America, the evangelical movement in America, they're so powerful.
Yeah.
They have trillions of dollars to pour. They are so powerful, trust me. They're the ones funneling money into this African Pentecostal movement.
Yeah.
And when you got money, you can buy airwaves and do everything, put your stories there.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And those other agencies there that maybe the American government give money to help assist people facing abuse because they're under the umbrella of the LGBTQI+. Although they're doing the work, but they have their own hidden agendas. They sometimes, like in Russia's tag some of them as spy agencies.
Yeah. So
you can no longer operate. Some of them do operate like that. I don't really want you as an agency to come into my country and be having say over how we run our local politics. None of your business. I'll kick you out immediately because I don't see any African organization come here and be chatting. It's the same way I don't like Western ambassadors going to our countries and chatting shit. Our ambassadors here don't chat shit. They can't even do it.
No, but
they just lord over us.
They don't have the platform.
So this is a battle of ideologues, battle of ideologies, battle of lifestyles between the West. But like you rightly pointed out, you guys criminalize all of these things.
Yeah, initially.
You grew out of it.
Yeah.
Only a couple of years ago, you started decriminalizing the...
But because I think it was the Ghanaian president who said that the West went through that same process of criminalizing LGBTQ plus acts, and now it's like they've moved. They moved
in a snail speed.
Yeah, and he said like allow African countries to develop at their own pace.
No, it's true. We should grow. But not criminalize it, but we should grow organically.
I think criminalizing it.
But what they want us to just to put a jump start and start running with the whips. No, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We've got so many agencies involved in this. The church is so powerful. You can't just neglect
the church is extremely powerful.
Because the church, as they've threatened, we will tell our followers not to vote.
Not to vote, yeah.
Tomorrow that president is going to leave if they don't vote for him.
Yeah.
He has to secure his political base.
But yeah.
It's all about that. So we need to tread carefully.
Yeah.
The Americans, the Western world need to know that it took you forever to get out of this. Let us grow. Organically, let us grow. We know how to treat our brothers and our sisters well. We don't. Of course, it's tribal wars and all of that, but this is the least of our problem. We never bother about these things until they bring it to the forefront.
Yeah,
and we start fighting.
And I feel like, then I don't understand why. I feel like all the African countries were like, they just went crazy.
I think they went crazy because Kamala Harris came to the continent to start pushing and talking. They're asking, you got bigger problems. Why is this what you come here to talk about?
Yeah.
It's not like you came here to say,
get
power or something. Yeah,
because for me, it's I think about the harm. And I think more recently, it was just on social media about when people are trying to set people up for being gay so that they can... So you think that, you're going to... Like, there's a romantic partner that you're going to meet up and you turn up and you're being ambushed.
Where did this happen?
This was in Ghana, actually.
Yeah, see, that's why
people are being ambushed. Yeah. And I'm like, because of this, like, anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric at the moment that's being pushed by the government, there's a lot of hostility.
Yes, the hostility definitely would have jumped. And
I just think it's sad because you're endangering people's lives.
It's always been the case when you have those sort of rhetoric, political outbursts about certain section of any community.
Yeah.
This is where you get increased hostility.
Yeah.
That's the aspect I don't agree with our nations, our home nations.
No.
It is wrong. If you come out and talk about this in the parliament, please be also clear that if you go out there doing stuff like that, ambushing people.
But it's quite funny that within all the anti-LGBTQ plus law, there is nothing. They want to criminalize advocating.
Yeah, that's the problem.
There's no repercussions for you going out of your way.
If you go out slapping somebody, it's against the law. If you go out using slurs, it's against the law. Then that will balance it out. No, it will balance it because if I go slap you because you're gay, I'll be arrested for assault. Until we have to protect everyone.
Yeah.
There's need for protection for everyone.
I agree.
You've passed your law. Maybe we'll go through the bill will go through. Trust me, that bill might even go through, nobody will implement it, another government will come. But it will go through if it go through, but there's also need for protection.
Oh, yeah,
so that people don't just go around and become hunters.
Yeah, law upon themselves.
We're barbaric here in this country. I remember when some people around East London were going around hunting so-called pedophiles.
Oh, God.
And they mistakenly killed innocent people. So we have to be very careful with our rhetoric and politics. And also, the LGBTQI plus question is a very huge one.
Yeah.
And it touches on so many sensitive areas in our community. And the toppest of all is, we just think it's a Western ideology against ours. That's where the battle is. But it's always been part of our lifestyle.
It's been part of it.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's always been part of our lifestyle. Whether royalty, they've always had boys as their boyfriends. They've always had, like that, it's been part of our lifestyle. So it's not like Europeans gave us that lifestyle. That's a complete lie. No. Europeans actually came to us and said criminalize it. It's a sin against God through their religion and the missionary work.
Yeah, and the missionary
so they're coming back and saying that you should accept it. That's where the fight is.
Yeah.
That's the chasm. That's the fight. I think we don't have enough time to trash this question. It's an ongoing one.
It is.
I don't want to see my brother or sister lynched anyway on the streets of Nigeria or Ghana or Uganda because they have a certain lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.